Funds.
This one from the school.
Oh, the one from the school
I
for,
have the original here.
so they're requesting $4,714.20 from CARES Act money, $3,094 for technology infrastructure upgrade, $100 for compensation to speech services, and $1,520 to the electrostatic sprayers. Now what's this down below here? Oh, that's just the general balance? Is that what that is? Why are we showing? Upon approval of the payment of these expenses, my records would indicate the following balances. Do you know what that is? Is that what they have left in their accounts, or is that what they've spent?
I can get clarification tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, there's another round coming out. I'm not concerned about CARES Act money because we get another almost 200,000.
Do they have an amount allocated to the school, just for the school stuff, or does that come out of the total that we have for the town?
Yeah, the way it was set up was it was $402,000, I think it was, for the entire town. And then they had you go in and throw some money in as placeholders, which was kind of not meaningful money because we didn't know what we were going to spend.
Yeah.
Came out to be $211,000, which is what we told them we were going to spend. But I don't think as long as we're not over the 402, I don't think it matters because that's what's available to us.
Because they're saying a balance of what?
Yeah.
Where is that?
I think that's what's in the balance of what I had originally put in, and I sent them, this is the money I originally put in for, based on what they gave me. So I put in what they gave me. So I'm assuming that that's what their balances are on the money that we had already told them we were going to spend.
Right, but it's not limited to that.
No, no.
Right.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the request for $4,714.20 from the CARES Act account for the school.
Just the 4714.
Well, that's what they're requesting in there.
Yep.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Copy that. Old business? I don't see any old business. New business, state aid reimbursement request for the highway.
Two of you need to sign that one.
What's that? Oh, for the paving?
Yep.
It's about 1,200, almost 1,300 feet of Slab City Road, starting at Town Farm. Has this already been done, or are we asking for money to do it?
We're asking for money to do it. I think it's just what we request.
Okay. Full depth reclamation with payment. So,
What's a force account? It says on the work to be done, force account. Kind of in the middle. That's checked.
what does it say?
Work to be done. What is a force account?
Force account. Huh.
We're not forcing them to do it, are we?
Well, there's two options. It's either force account or advertised contract. So I think what they're saying is we're not going to put it out to bid. We're going to use
Just do it.
what we had bid already.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like we're not going to do a request for proposals or anything like that. We're going to use the bid we have. I don't know, it was a Holden Trap Rock Palmer Paving or somebody that we
Yeah.
I
use.
think it's Palmer Paving.
Well, that section of town needs a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
down there, so he's trying to catch up with
Yep.
that.
All right, so, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the state aid reimbursement request for $199,574 for Town Farm Road and Slab City Road.
Second?
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Does this need 3 signatures? One, what's
Two.
the, 2 signatures?
Yep.
I don't know what's today.
The 15th.
Okay. We gotta wait till 6:15. Let's see, committee appointment, NB helps. I can't read this very well. They want to be appointed to the NB Helps Committee, is that what I'm?
That was the one she wanted to, and she put beach committee or historical committee as backup. Lorraine McMaster is her name. I reached out to the NB Helps and they said they'd be happy to have her, so.
Okay.
Does she want to be on all 3, or just?
No, it was just in her priority
Yeah.
list.
Be cool.
Yeah. Is Lorraine here?
No.
No? Does anybody know Lorraine here?
Nope.
I don't know. She just came into the office and I think she was paying a bill. She came in and she was like, I really want to give back now that my kids are grown, and she's lived here for 26 years or something to that effect, so.
Mhm. Well, I certainly don't have a problem appointing
Nope.
somebody that wants to.
If she's willing. So on the NB helps.
No problem.
All right. Motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Oh, you
It
got
doesn't matter, whichever one.
All right. Now, what else?
We have a committee appointment to the Insurance Advisory Committee.
Okay. From Ann Genetti, our treasurer, with the passing of Gene Kai, we need to appoint a retiree to the town's Insurance Advisory Committee. Mr. Kai's overall experience in town government was a great asset to the committee, and he will be missed. I respectfully request that the board appoint former Chief Aram Tamazian as the retiree representative to the Insurance Advisory Committee. His prior experience with budgets and personnel would be a valuable asset. Does anybody know if he wants to do it?
He reached out to her and said he wanted to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just gonna spring it on him.
Yeah, hey, you're it. You're the guy. So you can never fully retire from
Yeah.
service. All right.
I move to appoint Aram Tamazian to the Insurance Advisory Committee.
Second?
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good, that's done. Landlord contact form, Water Department for Spectrum. What's that?
Spectrum's putting a new service up at the water department because they have terrible internet.
Okay.
So Spectrum needs the owner of the property to, I filled out all the information, I just need you to sign it.
Okay. Anybody have any objection to that?
It doesn't have anything to do with the new tower up there? Is
No.
That's something different, yeah.
Different, yeah.
There's 2 of these. right. Is it 6:15 yet?
No,
Almost.
4 minutes.
That's all the business I have. Anybody got anything? You got anything you need to bring up for 2 minutes? You got 2 minutes?
Only two?
Only two.
You shut me off last time.
Strategically placing you.
Yeah.
between the-
I just want to say that I've been working with the guy for about 8 months, trying to find locations for a new business in town, and we are possibly going to be getting a gas station coming to town with a small convenience store and possibly a coffee shop. I was going to say it the last meeting, but I got shut off because I talked too much.
You ran over on your other business.
Yeah, my 2 minutes were up. So it's one of those things, we want to bring new business into town. We severely need a gas station, and this guy wants to open up. He's going to make it look like it fits in town. It's not going to be a Cumberland Farms. I was assured of that, so I don't know what he's bringing to town, as long as it's gas. And he told me he's going to have diesel also, which is a good thing, because we have to go either to Spencer or to Hardwick for our diesel equipment. Also, I'm working on the town park down here. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. We've got some loom in there, we've got some gravel coming in. Bond Sand and Gravel was kind enough to give us some supplies down there, and it's in the works. Hopefully within a month, we can get the pathways in, get everything leveled out, and get the benches down there.
And you're looking for a flag.
Who's that?
You want a flag for that, right?
A flag?
Yeah. Weren't you saying we need a new flag out there?
Oh, we need a new flag.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking for a donation from somebody in town. The flag that we had, I had donated in the spring for the pole down there. Got a little torn with all the windstorms that we've had. So someone else donated another flag, but it's just too heavy. It's a cloth type flag. So we need to get something substantial that's nylon. I'm not sure. It's this big, you know. I don't know.
Big as me.
Yeah, so, also, my wife and I took down the flags that were on the poles. We left them up until 9/11, out of respect. They went up before Memorial Day, and we'll store them at the townhouse like they have been, and in the spring or in Memorial Day next year, we'll get them back up. Hopefully, my wife and I can do that. We spent 2.5 hours taking them down, packing them up, and they're in the townhouse now. So.
You didn't happen to take a inventory of broken necessary
There are
parts?
3 broken ones, 2 brackets, 3 poles were broken, and there were 2 brackets. What I did, one of the poles that was broken was an MIA flag, so I actually put it on the flagpole because we didn't have one on there.
Okay.
So one of those flags that you and I put up before actually went on the flagpole down here because we didn't have one on there.
Because the NB Helps Group wanted a inventory
Yeah.
so they could.
I almost think when we put them up, there were 47 when you and I put them up originally, but I didn't count them.
Yeah.
We were just lucky to get them down. It took me 2 days to get them down. So.
Okay.
We had to walk the dog in between. So,
Priority.
but that's done. They're stored again. I think NB Helps wants to do something seasonal
Yeah.
coming
yeah,
up. I don't know.
did put something in there about what the holiday
Yeah.
flags.
I went up this morning and took down the trail cams that were up on Brooks Pond area, because there's been no action since the police took action up there with the no parking and the ticketing and everything.
Yeah.
I spoke to a couple of people that live up in Brooks Pond, and they're very pleased with our efforts that we took from
Yeah.
those 2 emergency meetings.
Yeah, that worked out.
It kind of softened the blow with people coming from out of town and trashing the place up there, so they were very pleased with what we did up there. And I told them, hopefully in the spring, we'll catch it before the heat wave comes on. We'll get the signs up, get the cameras back up, and
Yeah.
to make life more pleasant for the actual people that live on the pond.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be, if we're not in the same situation
Yep.
next
They went
year.
through heck
socially.
this summer
Yeah.
out there, so, yep, very pleased with us.
All right, so it's after 6:15, so I will call this hearing to order. It's a pouring license for Common Ground. All the paperwork has been submitted. It's all in order, right? And you've
Yes.
gone over everything from the ABCC's perspective. So let's hear what your plans.
What we are is we're a farm winery and a farm brewery, which consists of, we make our own beer, our own cider, and our own wine. Right now, we're producing some things and just getting started at it, but we have stuff available to go. We were actually operating as a winery, cidery in West Brookfield, but we pretty much decided we needed a bigger place, more land, to be able to have people come and actually enjoy the experience. These types of things, it's more about an experience than just sitting there getting drunk. It's they like to come out, sit down, chat with their friends, sip on this, try the different flavors, different stuff you make. Things are always changing, flavors change, so it's just a gathering type experience people do. What we would like to do is get a pouring license so that we can have the people actually sit there and drink the product, enjoy themselves, get something to eat, and outside cooking. We got an outside cooking area that we built. We have outsourced seating areas, things like that, where there's so much space, we can actually have people come out. Eventually we'll be inside, but very limited to what we can put inside. So as time goes on, we'd like to be able to, when this changed, to be able to do some functions there. Somebody can do a wedding, birthday party, anniversary parties, baby showers, bridal showers, type of thing. Come in, and so that's why we're looking for the pouring license.
Now, where do you make it? You don't make it on site?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we started making the cider there. We'll start making the beer this weekend, and everything will be made right there.
Oh, nice. So, any questions?
No, I think he covered everything.
Yep, no, we just
Question?
want-
Comments? Anybody?
Anybody?
Welcome to North Brookfield, hope you do well.
Thank you.
You have a question, Bill?
No, I would just offer my support.
Oh, good.
Welcome new business to town, and thank you for renovating that site.
How
Yeah.
soon can you guys start serving food once they give you the license?
The day we'd have to have food to pour on site, so that day.
Oh.
It goes to Boston from here and then it comes back. So within a week or so, I'm open.
Yeah, well, that's pretty optimistic.
Well, the ABCC's been very, very responsive and very quick with things, actually, for us.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they actually were calling us to get the federal government to do things quicker.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're working from home now, pretty much. So, but they, so they're, and it's not as many cases or many things going on. As you know, a lot of restaurants are down. Not too many people open new ones. So pouring licenses are not a big demand right now.
True.
What are you gonna have for food, Roger?
Basically, the food we're going to be doing, it's going to be different all times. We've got a wood-fired pizza oven, and we have a wood-fired grill that we're going to be cooking on.
Mhm.
85% of the food will be that. We'll have the availability of some cheese and cracker platters, things like that, which people like this time. But mostly it would be, today we're going to say, okay, we're going to cook lobsters, or tomorrow we're going to cook hamburgers and hot dogs, or
Yep, wings, ribs.
wings and stuff like that.
yep.
Yeah, ribs, things like that. Pizza, or different things in the oven that we can cook there.
Yep. Yep. I'm just asking so people
Yeah,
can
yeah,
understand
right.
what.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're gonna
Yeah.
tell us what.
Mostly gluten-free.
Yeah.
So cider is a big gluten-free crowd.
Mhm.
So a lot of the food will also be gluten-free.
Mhm.
Whatever we can get local, but.
Yeah.
And, it's, again, like I said, we're just hoping to be able to do this so that we can expand the business and reach out to people and be local
Mhm.
product. I know
Yeah.
we have had a good response with the product at this point, and we know that it can get better and bring people to town, see the town, drive
Yeah.
through it, stop at other places.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we're looking for. so.
Good. Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the pouring license request for Common Ground.
Second?
A motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to town. And good luck.
One more hurdle done.
Yes.
Thanks for coming to town, you guys.
Yes, thank you. It's been good to
Do I
work.
need any more in this?
I'll take the whole folder back.
Is that just the only thing we need to sign? Is it?
Yes, that's the only thing you need to sign,
Right. Okay, so that's the agenda items. Anything else for the agenda that you have? No? We good? You good on the agenda?
Yep.
All right. Public comment period. Tara.
I'm gonna stand, I'm not gonna wear my mask because I will tell you that it's very hard to understand everyone with masks on over the camera. My name is Tara Hayes, 11 Wigwam Road in North Brookfield. I am addressing the Board of Selectmen and the town as a citizen. I'm also your town clerk, but I am addressing you as a private citizen right now. At the meeting on September 1st, the Board of Health had addressed the Board of Selectmen in the town about the Sportsman's Club and the car show event that had been planned, that we had to cancel. I feel it is important that all sides of the issue be addressed. I am also the author of the Facebook post that explained the cancellation of the car show and asked for the town's support of the chicken barbecue, which this town rocks. Everyone showed up. The car show had originally been scheduled for June, but was put on hold due to the pandemic. When the governor's guidelines increased outdoor gatherings to 100, the club decided to put the show on again. The show had never had in the past more than 25 cars, so we felt that 100 we were pretty safe. We had it scheduled for the end of August, and then the governor's guidelines reduced everything to 50. But we still felt comfortable, didn't know how it was going to fly. The Board of Health never came to the club to address the event. Mr. Alphen came to my office where I was working, not at the Sportsman's Club, and asked me what the plan was for the car show. I explained that we had plenty of acreage to social distance and that we had never had more than 25 cars. There was no follow-up question, there was no further conversation on the matter, nothing. If there was a concern or a need for clarification, that was the opportunity. He also could have asked to discuss it with the board of directors of the club, and I could have arranged it. Nothing happened. The day before the car show, a friend came to me and advised that the club should cancel the car show because the governor's office and the ABCC, the Alcohol Bureau Control Commission, had been contacted and would be showing up at the car show. Although our intent was to stay within the guidelines of the governor, the possibility of needing to deal with turning people away was too great to risk the liquor license of the club. The club chose to cancel the car show with the intent to reschedule at a later time if possible. The next day I was at my office working, and Mr. Alphen came in, we exchanged greetings, and he commented how unfortunate it was that so much was going on Facebook about the car show. I agreed and said that I would like to know who contacted the state, and he said we did. There was a heated exchange during which I asked how they could do that to a group that had been part of the community for so long. He explained that he had friends on the board of directors and was familiar with the club. I replied that if I didn't have friends, the club would have been blindsided by the state showing up. I asked why he would do that to his friend. What made them contact the state? His response, you had over 400 likes on the event Facebook page. To be clear, Board of Health never formally addressed any concerns about the guidelines and the car show with the Sportsman's Club. They came to me at my office and asked a question about our plan, which was answered. Rather than going to their friends on the Board of Directors, the Board of Health went to the state based on the number of likes on a Facebook page. I've worked with the Board of Health in the past. They worked with me to lay out the municipal election held on June 1st. They worked with me that whole day to ensure that the election was run smoothly and within the governor's guidelines at that time. As a matter of fact, it worked so well that I ran this past election on September 1st using the same guidelines, even though the governor exempted polling places from the guidelines. If Mr. Alphen had asked to go to the club and work with us on the layout, that would have been done. But there was never a follow-up question, conversation, nothing. There has been a change in the dynamic of the Board of Health, and as a citizen, I find them hard to approach. As an elected board, they serve the citizens and should work to educate and find ways to work with us rather than let us feel that they are working against us. As an organization that has worked to follow the guidelines of the state during the COVID-19 pandemic, we now know that we can be reported to the state with no advance notice, no documentation, and no opportunity to address any concerns from this Board of Health. I have recently made a public records request to the Board of Health to try to fully understand their decision-making process. I'm sure there will be more to discuss once that request has been fulfilled. That's it. Thank you very much for the time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I reply?
I'd like to reply as well.
What's that?
I was asking if I could
We'd like
reply.
to reply.
No, there's no replies to be had.
I mean, not
Thank you.
reply, but I mean, I just want to say in support, but,
You are at a selectmen's meeting.
okay, so I can't say anything, you just said public comment.
It is a
You,
public
you
comment.
have to be I went over this before, okay? I'm not gonna keep going over it. You don't have the right to address unless you're recognized by the chair. We're not gonna get into arguments back and forth.
I don't want to.
If you want to be recognized for a quick comment,
Yes.
I will recognize you for a quick comment, but we're
Very
not
quick
going to get
comment.
into debates on this,
I do
so.
not want to debate it.
So the rules, I will repeat again, are you have 2 minutes. If you repeat yourself, you're done because we get the point. So refine your thoughts and speak.
I just want to say the way that was handled was tragic, and I completely agree with you that that is an unacceptable way to handle the situation. I feel like there's a bigger problem that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health, rather than addressing issues together, and I think it's a problem on both sides. I think that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health have not been behaving properly towards each other. Rather, they're using the citizens and businesses and other things and social media to misaddress very important issues, and the citizens of the North Brookfield are the ones who are suffering. And I don't think it's just the Board of Health. I think the Board of Selectmen has also conducted themselves in an inappropriate manner addressing certain issues that have caused the Board of Health to panic and not know how to address issues without addressing someone above themselves, above the town, and addressing state. Also, I would like to add that most businesses should be ready for inspection at any time, and as long as you're following the rules, nothing would have happened. And I would like a response from the Board of Health, the Board of Selectmen, if they may. I'm really hoping that you'll understand where I'm coming from, and that you'll work on fixing the problem, because we are a community and we need to work together, and the most important part is our community coming together and working together and not against each other. Compromise is the most important part of any debate or issue.
Well, I will respond briefly, and I'll just state that I don't think you've been listening, or if you've been listening, you haven't been paying attention. It all started at the very beginning when we tried to work with them and they wouldn't give us the information that we needed to make decisions. So from our perspective, we didn't start the fire. If they want to work with us, we're willing to work with them. But the issue remains, we have not had in this town more than 2 active cases at any one time. So in my case, my view, you have people on the basketball courts. Board of Health's going out of their mind that people are playing basketball on the basketball courts, right? I mean, that's not a secret. That's been out there. Yet, we have not had more than 2 active cases at any one time. So if people are playing basketball and they're not covered up, we're not spreading things. So I think it's overreach. I think they're going way overboard. So that's my opinion. I mean,
Can I just ask you a
if you
question
wanna-
really quick? If you don't believe that there's a problem with you know, the pandemic, which I can understand, like, I watched the numbers very closely. We have had very little to no problem in North Brookfield. That could change, though, at any time. So if you don't think there's a problem, then why do you care so much if the Board of Health gives you the information?
I don't understand what you mean by that.
If you don't think there's a problem with the pandemic, then why do you want the names and information of the people who are sick?
Well,
We don't want the names.
We don't want names.
We never said we wanted names.
Okay.
That's the whole
Oh, because I know
problem.
that the fire department gets the information, and the.
You
They
don't know
they
that.
don't get
They
the
don't get
information.
it. That's the
Can I
problem.
address
this?
No.
The main
Yeah.
concern is about the information that the Board of Selectmen is seeking from the Board of Health. And what I believe what she's saying is, if there's no problem with the pandemic from the official opinion of the Board of Selectmen, why are they so dogmatic about finding it from the Board of Health?
Can I?
Well, if there is a problem, why aren't we sharing information
There's
in
no
order to
problem.
address it?
It's set out.
So, I guess that goes both ways, but, there are statutes. I mean, everybody likes to say that these orders from the governor and the guidance that he's giving is law. It is not. It's absolutely not a law. And if it was a law, and if you think it's a law,
Dubious at best.
what's been dubious?
You're adhering to these policies in the account and existence of the rally that you participated in outside of the jurisdiction of these. I'd like to make the statement that your adherence to these policies as a member of the Board of Selectmen has been dubious.
And I don't even know what that means.
It means that you haven't been. It means that it's been nebulous. You have.
We know what dubious means, we don't.
We don't know what you mean by dubious, because, I mean, I know what the word dubious means, but I don't think
We
it,
can agree on the common definition of dubious.
it-
then.
yeah, but I don't think it means what you think it
You
means, is
haven't
what I'm
read
saying.
the policies, what I'm saying.
We haven't deviated in our perspective from the start.
With all due respect.
So, well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go to the next person.
Okay, so anybody else got something to say?
Yeah, I
Yes,
just, thank you for recognizing me. You know, I wanted to bring up the water in the basement, or the water problem that we have at 94 Summer again.
All right.
I appreciate the work you've done. Thanks for getting back to me on it. I don't believe that the town council understands the problem as it is. So, you know, let me just, I'm gonna do this really quick. You know, going from the letter, you know, the email that you sent me, Dale. You know, council says, she states, unless the pipes are on town property or were installed as water control, in a subdivision pursuant to a planning board approval, then the town is not liable. Okay, so this is an old place. This was in existence in the ground, I'm gonna guess prior to 1930. So I need to know about the planning board bylaw that was adopted to have to get approval to connect to a town utility.
Well, I can tell you in the 1930s, the subdivision control law was not even a,
It wasn't there.
not
So-
even a thing.
So, you know, like, I kind of go back to that common law thing, if it's in the ground for so many years, you know, town has some responsibility for it. Okay, so, bear with me, the pipe, or it's not a pipe, it's really a culvert, and essentially, it's tied into a town catch basin. So if it's tied into a town catch basin, that would indicate that at some point somebody said, yeah, okay, tie it in, right? So therefore, my opinion, my stance is the town owns it. Okay, so the purpose is to control wastewater, or groundwater, or, you know, stormwater coming from somewhere. So, you know, if we follow that logic along, town owns it, it's controlling wastewater or stormwater. It's not storage, it's water coming off of the hill. All right, so therefore the town needs to help me with this.
Well, so let
They
me
can
just ask you,
verify-
What help do you want from the town? I mean, if you
Well,
bring
I-
us a plan of what you're looking for us to do, I think we could probably work with you to get it
Oh,
done.
Okay, because
I just-
I would like the town to do the excavation to correct the problem, starting, on my property, going across the property, replace the culvert with a pipe, and connect it back to the catch basin. I mean, and there's a possibility there needs to be a easement granted on my part. If there's nothing, if I go back through all the old records and we can do that. It'll cost, it'll take time. But, I mean, if there's an easement to be granted, I'd gladly do it. Okay, so if a manhole needs to be placed and a place for the water to go gathered, and then shot through a new culvert over to the catch basin, I got no problem with that.
So how much excavation are you talking? What's the,
It's a lot. I mean, Bert Hume said, 10 grand is what it was gonna cost for them to do the job for me.
yeah, but I'm looking at the length of
Oh, that's-
excavation. What's the length of the pipe or how long we have
Like
to?
130 feet. I'd guess 130 feet would be right.
I thought it was just plugged up halfway
Well,
through your lawn.
Yeah, it is, but on the other hand, the culvert is collapsed in different places along the way.
Beyond.
And of course, it was dug up to go look and see, we hadn't proved that it was there. It was, oh no, there's no underground brook there. Well, how do you prove it if you don't dig it up? So it was dug up and it was interfered with, really. All right. But at that time, Jason actually saw it, and, the contention is, oh, it doesn't exist, but now it exists. And yes, it is, and has been observed, connected to the catch basin. Now, the recent dye test, I mean, and understand, I'm around all the time now, I'm retired. So I've been paying attention to what guys are doing, the research guys. And essentially, the dye test was only on one catch basin, which is downstream from where I believe the water's coming in. The catch basin dye test was, and I offered water to go with it because they didn't have water to pour into that. I said, hey, I'll give you water, no problem. We'll run water up there. But anyway, so the dye was just straight down Prospect Street from one corner. There weren't any other, to my knowledge, no other sources of potential water were tested with dye. I mean, that's, and if they were, I'd like to know what dates. So the word that you used was conclusively determined that it wasn't. There's nothing conclusive about that. It was one test, bingo, and the not being conclusive is to say, Jason saw it, it's attached. One comes in this way, one comes in this way, the one coming this way is my property. Engineer at the time, I had said, are you gonna test these pipes? Can you go up in those? And he says, no, he says, they're too clogged to test. So, that's kind of where I am with it. Nothing was said in the email either about surface water, which is jumping the berms on this Maple Street up above me. Now, I think, this whole thing, trying to describe this in the air like this, right, is really hard. I mean, I got the pictures, I got the video, and I'd be happy to have people come up and take another look and say, okay, we understand what the problem is now, Bruce, okay, here's where we stand on it. I really do feel as though the town needs to help on that.
Well, you're not the only one that's experiencing severe water problems in town. There are a number of other ones, so we just don't have money.
I totally get it. I mean, I'm at the bottom of a hill, all right? I understand the physics of things. Water's gonna run downhill, right? But I also understand the guys, neighbors like 400 feet this way are getting a different water source, totally different water source because of the topography of the land. You get a hill, okay, and it comes down like this, but then you have like a little valley here and a little valley here. You got like in the case of High Street, running down the side of High Street, you have a brook. I mean, literally, there's a brook there. And it runs into a catch basin. Some of it goes through Jay Belanger's cellar. I mean, it just flows straight through. But the other part of it comes to my house.
So,
So-
who did you have look at it, you said? Berthium?
That was, yeah, Brookfield, but they didn't do anything engineering. I mean, they came out and they excavated. You know, they were working in the area. My wife saw them and said, hey, could you guys check this for us? I contacted Jason. I said, hey, we're gonna have it dug up to have you take a look, because nobody believed me that there's a brook there. Okay, and I mean, there was all kinds of stories about this brook. You know, one neighbor says, oh, you can walk through that thing. It's a big tunnel. It's not right. It's just a culvert about like that.
Yeah.
You know, so there was no engineering done by Berthium. I mean, they did actually shoot some grade and determine how high water would get, what the impact would be to my cellar, you know, things like that. And they did that while they were there. I doubt they recorded it. I doubt they even wrote a report on it. And in fact, I said, you know, in one of the things that were in contention, well, you know, Jason and I argued about was, okay, well, you're going to have Berthium do it. I asked Berthium twice for a quote. They never provided a written quote for it. What business person does a job to that extent without a written quote?
Yeah.
You know, on a contract, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so like while we're talking about that, one step further down the road is, okay, let's say, and I don't want to do this, let's say I took care of it. Where do I get rid of that water? Where do I get rid of it? It's
Well,
it's going
so
back
there's really two separate issues here
Yeah.
from our perspective, from the board's perspective.
Right.
It's liability by the town. Is the
Right.
town liable for damages or the water that's coming onto your property? And in consultation with town council, we don't think the town's liable. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't help with a fix.
Okay.
Because, I mean, was it Started Court that's down here? There's the way the drainage comes from the brook, comes down past Started Court and then makes a hard right turn before it gets into the main drain. And
Right.
that blows up all the time in the
Sure.
rain. So there are sections, we're fixing them as we get grants for them. So to the extent that the town can help fix it, I think that's a separate issue from whether the town's actually liable for damages. So,
You know, everybody wants to litigate, right? Everybody wants to do that.
I hope so.
I don't, well, so I need some help.
that's how I
So,
make money.
so like, okay, forget the $11,000 that I'm in. Yeah, I mean, I'm in for 11 grand on this thing. You know, the old furnace and whatnot, the statute of limitations gone on that anyway. But, you know, forget all of that. I don't want to recover money that I've lost. I don't want money for the sump pumps or anything like that. All I want is to help to get the excavation done, the thing engineered properly. You know, I don't want to have some bozos come in there and figure it out, right? I want to have this done the way the town needs to do it. If the town needs me to grant an easement, 100% cooperation on it. You know, I know, you know, if we, and I sit up nights thinking about this, right? And I know if this goes back, okay, now what do we do about the next guy upstream? What, you know? So I know that comes into play, but on the other hand, being at the lowest spot, if water goes through and by me, there's really no problem, because I don't see any other problems uphill. You know,
Do we know where it's coming in? It's not coming in from the culvert pipes, from the town drainage. Where's it coming in?
it could be coming out of catch basins. I know it's coming over the berm. I know for a fact, in that little movie I did,
Yeah.
shows like the Grand Canyon, right?
So if there was a bigger berm, if there was a larger berm on Maple Street, to divert it to to the roadways, would that,
There's other water that comes down and into yards.
I'm just
above.
looking for,
But, you know, I think partially, okay, yeah, a berm would fix it. Restructuring the catch basins would fix it. There's no way to tell whether or not, Ray Blake said other catch basins were connected to this culvert, other than the one he fixed. He fixed one.
yeah.
So, you know, there's no way of telling how many other catch basins are dumping in there. You know, it could
Well,
be that
Jason
little
said
one.
they shot the camera up the pipe and they didn't see
No.
anything.
No, they didn't shoot a camera up, not up the pipe.
Well, not up yours, but up Maple Street, and I mean,
Oh, yeah, I was, you know,
no pun intended.
I actually went out, I watched, you know, some of the things they were doing. But, you know, they were more concentrated on surge, not stormwater.
Okay,
The stormwater situation, they, you know, they did dye test that one catch basin,
Mhm.
made sure of where the water was going with that, because they didn't know if it was going down to the catch basin on the corner of Prospect and Summer or not,
yeah.
because of the way the pipe bent. So, you know, they dumped some dye in there, they pumped some water from the test truck in there. You know, the guy came back and dumped some water in. And essentially, you know, I stood there and I watched, because I've got interest in this. And, oh yeah, okay, red dye is coming out of the pipe that's
Mhm.
coming down from that catch basin. But that has nothing to do with the pipe that goes this way from my property. You know what I
Also,
mean?
I was asking, where is the water, how is the water getting into that pipe that goes behind your property?
I have no concrete idea. The only way I found before was when Ray Blake fixed the original problem, he came out when the geysers 4 feet high coming out of my backyard.
Mhm.
Kids were like running through it, like
Oh,
a sprinkler. And essentially the water was literally coming out 4 feet and there were big holes in the ground because of that. So the following week we had a big rainstorm. I went up and I dumped a box of Tide, you know, soap.
Yeah.
In a catch basin in front of, I think it was in front of Rucho's house. And all of a sudden I had like bubble bath in my basement.
Careful, Board of Health's here.
Oh, well,
You're not supposed to-
you know, I had, it was clean. Solid got clean that
Can I
way.
say something really quick?
So anyway, that's how I figured that part out. I mean, there was a little, you know, mad science going on in my head. Now, I haven't repeated that, you know, since that time. I haven't chased it down. I haven't had the opportunity to and been home when we've had that kind of rain. I wish I was home that last Sunday that we had the 3 inches of rain, because that's when the basement overflowed again. Because I would have gone up the street and dumped something in up there. But on the other hand, you know, because the culvert has failed, and the culvert's not just on my property, it's uphill from me too. Because that's failed, it takes water a long time to filter through that. So what happens in my case is it comes down, stops, because it's you know, the roots have occluded the pipe going into the catch basin, right? It stops, it backs up, water table comes up high. As soon as the water table comes up, it starts shooting out into my basement.
So when they excavated, did they dig up an end, 2 ends? Did they
Yeah,
find- So
yeah.
did they leave it open?
It's in those pictures. Yeah, they actually, what they did was,
Or did they plug it up again?
no, what they did was they dug out as much as they could.
Yeah.
There was silt in there, right? And the water started flowing.
Yeah.
And we watched it. They actually had to pump the hole in the back of the house with a pump. All right? And essentially we watched it and water started coming in. There's a pipe coming down from up in the direction of Gifford's property. Water's coming down there and it's filling up the hole. And the guy dug out a little bit of silt out of the lower end. It was open, right?
Yeah.
And water started flowing, we went down to the catch basin, water's coming in. But anyway, long story short, when they filled that back in, they just backfilled that hole with rock.
They should have left it open.
Well, I mean,
It might have cleared itself. Then you
could-
would know it would be clear.
I would have had to build a fence around it.
Yeah.
It was deep.
Yeah.
It got very deep. I mean, literally, the guy from Brookfield had to exit the hole. He didn't have a trenching thing in there, right? A protection piece. And he had to get out of there because the water was coming up so high. side was starting to collapse, he throws the pump in there, had to pump it out before they did any more work. You know, so what they did was they put loose rock down there, that allows water to go through. And literally, actually, it does allow water to go through it, but still, down at the tree belt, town property, it's still occluded with roots. You know, so it is bad.
So any expenditure that the town would make to fix the problem or address the problem would have to go to town meeting vote. So I think the solution here is that you're gonna have to get a report on the fix. What's gonna fix it, how much it's gonna cost, and be relatively assured that it will address the problem and it won't reoccur.
Right.
And then we would put that on a warrant at a special town meeting. You know, we'll have to agree, I mean, we can agree, that the board can meet with you and agree on, you know, what kind of costs split, or, you know, what the highway can do in exchange for, I mean, we can do that kind of stuff, but if it's an expenditure of money, it's gonna have to go to town meeting vote, so.
Do I need to work with a contractor that you guys work with, the town works with? I mean, I'd love to get a recommendation, go to that contractor and say, give me a quote, tell me what it's gonna cost. Or do I just go back to Brookfield?
He does
Yeah,
water.
Eddie Tebow does that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He does our water stuff.
He digs our, some
Yeah.
of our graves too.
Yeah, he did the green property down there across from the,
He does a lot of
the
water and
dump.
sewer
He
tie-ins
did
too.
that water sewer tie-in
Eddie
thing.
Tebow?
Yeah, Eddie
This is
Tebow.
Spencer.
Okay.
But he knows the town pretty well.
You know, I'll give him a call tomorrow. You know, and I'll get something in writing, and then, you know, I mean, I don't wanna take up more meeting time.
Yeah, because he's, I think if you have him look at it and have him assess it,
Yep.
I think his opinion probably goes a long way with us, because he, like you say, knows the town.
He knows the
So,
town. He's been working in town for years, doing water and sewer
yeah, have him look at it and then
installs and repairs.
we'll go from there.
Should I have him communicate directly back to you, or should the communications go through me?
Sure.
Should I get the quote? Should I get the quote and deliver it
Would we wanna get Jason involved?
to,
Cause
yeah?
he's highway, cause he might have to help.
Well, Jason-
Well, I
Near
want
the
an
road.
assessment of what needs to be done.
Yep,
You know, from an outside source that's knowledgeable in this area.
yep,
And then if we figure out what needs to be done, something that'll resolve the problem, then we can put the pieces together to get it done. So,
okay. Now, the only people that would know exactly what it is there is that Brookfield and Slim, they were working here in town with.
yeah, Eddie will come out with he's got a backhoe, he'll, if you give him permission, he'll dig and do
Oh, he can
whatever.
do
So,
whatever, if he wants to dig, I'm happy that he digs.
He's the
Yeah.
one who did Jay Belanger's digging
Oh,
when he had the water machine.
okay,
yeah.
Okay, great.
So do
Thank you.
that and we'll talk after we get a report from him, or you figure out what,
So I'll get the quote from him.
yeah.
I'll talk to Jason about coordinating with Eddie, and then I'll deliver you guys the paperwork.
Good,
Excellent.
Thanks.
plan. Okay, next. Yes.
Hi, it seems like I walked into a hornet's nest there, John Allison from the Board of Health. I came to just update you on Cheryl Lewinsky's. I asked her about getting that contract information with the update. The last time I was here, we were looking at the contract from 2010, and it's actually an intermunicipal agreement between our town of Brookfield, and town of Sutton. Good for 25 years, as long as all parties agree to continue with it. And so we don't have to re-sign that. It's an intermunicipal agreement, has to go to town meeting. It's a long process. So as long as you continue to use the person's services, it goes on for 25 years. They're writing something for us. I'm hoping they're not rewriting the whole municipal agreement, because we'd have to go to town council with that. And town council approved that last one, as you know, because you had that paperwork. So at any rate, their town manager is working on getting us the update with the $75 so you can pay those bills.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I did some inquiries on the going rate for a town nurse, and I know the town of Spencer, which is what, 4 times the size of us, is paying $35 an hour. So, I mean, when we're talking about using municipal finances for things,
Well,
you know.
she does, 20 towns in central Mass. I know other towns that are at the exact same rate. So picking one anecdotal one, and again, if you could find us another person that can do this cheaper, we'd be happy to look at it. Right now, it's very difficult to find people, inspectors and/or nurses.
Yeah,
they're
well, I
all
just want the
expensive.
people to understand where their finances are going,
Right.
you know,
Well,
and
in
we have an
2010,
obligation.
That was a $55 an hour thing that was signed by your select board and by members, and
Yep.
and the uptick in that in 10 years seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, well, it was a 1-year contract, and I think it was a 1-year contract
No,
for a
it's
reason.
a 25-year intermunicipal agreement, and you keep saying it's a 1-year
Well-
contract, and it's not what it is.
The
You have
wording, the wording of the contract says 1 year and can be renewed for up to 25 years.
Does the
And-
board move to rebuke said contract then?
Well, it ended in a year, it never got renewed.
No, it doesn't have to be renewed. It says as long as the parties don't, as long
Sounds
as
like
all
you're
parties
treating
want
this
to
like a regular
continue
thing,
with it, it
or is
continues.
this
It doesn't
intended to
need a
abolish?
signature. If it did, why didn't somebody say something in 10 years? No, you're the first board to bring it up. And again, that's what we have town council for. They know this well. If you have a problem with that contract, I would suggest you talk to them about it.
I also remember the Board of Selectmen very liberally deciding to give a very
This is,
liberal sum of
this is
money.
your one warning. You need to be recognized by the chair to speak at this meeting. The second warning, you get removed from the meeting. That's a state law, and I'm not afraid to use it. So if you want to speak, you get recognized by the chair.
I shall request an audio.
I appreciate your lay opinion of contracts. It's noted. I don't know, anything else to be said on that?
If he wants to bring us something that says specifically what he just said, then that's fine, I'll look at it, but
Well, it's in the
but
contract.
the
The contract
contract,
says it.
I've read it.
So if you and I read that differently, what do you do in most towns to get a legal opinion on something like that?
It doesn't matter, to be honest, how you read it. It only matters how we read it. So, I don't know what to tell you on that.
Well, again, I don't believe that that's so, but, it affects,
Is your name on that contract?
no,
Is the
But-
Board of Health signatories to that contract?
no.
Then it doesn't matter what the Board of Health says or what you say. It's
Well-
only what the Board of Selectmen say
Well, it
in regards to the
affects us
contract.
greatly in doing our work. And again, if you have a $35 an hour person that's legit that wants to do this for us, I'd be happy to interview her.
Well, see, the reason we don't do 25-year contracts in any municipal arrangement is because prices change so dramatically, and it doesn't make sense to not go out to bid on a regular basis when people can just up their fee. Now, the other thing says you can't change. So say for argument's sake, you are correct, and this is a 25-year contract. The fee for her services by the contract is $55 an hour. She's charging us $75.
Right.
There's a clause that says this contract cannot be modified unless it's done in writing by mutual agreement of all the parties. We don't have any writing that says that we can pay $75 an hour. So if, for argument's sake, the contract is valid under the 25-year agreement thing, which I don't think selectmen can sign. I think it has to go to town meeting for that. But
The original one is, but it doesn't have to be signed by town meeting every year of the 25 years. I hate to read out of my memory on this, but it says it rolls over for 25 years as long as all parties agree.
right.
And that it doesn't say shall sign, re-sign the contract.
Any modification has to be in writing, which
Well,
means
and
if
I'm
we're,
not so sure that there wasn't, a notification when she upped their thing, I can't find it. But that's what we were looking.
Well,
Can I
it seems
finish,
like it would have
please?
been in writing, John.
Well, it might
Somewhere.
have well been, and it constitutes a contract the minute we started paying her that. But, again, that could be flawed. But what I'm doing is what the board asked for, and that is we're getting them to put in writing what she's charging us. And then we can, and I just came here tonight to tell you why there is a delay in that.
okay,
And,
But it is coming.
That's what my hope is. I mean, I have her text to me that it's in the hands of their town manager, and I'm hoping he's not going through rewriting a whole new intermunicipal agreement and is just adding the price change in it.
So in the meantime, can we look for somebody that's less expensive than, this is the Sutton, you from Sutton?
yeah, even the contract by its terms can be terminated in writing with a 30 or 60-day notice, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
and again, if we found somebody else to do the work like her, I at $35 an hour, I'd be more than happy to look at that. Since I've been out looking for a replacement for our health inspector, I'm finding that many of them are retiring and people are working way too much with all this COVID stuff. They can't keep up with it, and they're not taking on any new towns, and that's what happened with our with Chrissy. Is that she was stretched too thin, and of course things were nuts here, and I, you know, when I came in, people were talking this. I talked with John yesterday. I would love it if we could start working together on this. We have some serious stuff like November elections. Our town hall is not in compliance with everything that you put up and said you're going to be doing. That was worked out with Chrissy, that's not in compliance. And I know that you guys don't believe that this is a problem. We don't have that privilege. We have to enforce this stuff.
well, we're not going to agree on any of that, so I appreciate your, What-
I'm
what-
sorry, the elections,
Yeah,
as town clerk, what about the elections?
well,
I ran the last election the exact same way we did in June when you were working with me.
well,
So
except
I
for
don't
you.
think there needs to be any more.
elections are exempt, so I don't even think we
No,
need to
they're not.
discuss
And-
that,
no,
so.
no, they are not exempt.
Again, read the, you talk about the law, you don't even want to read the law. It
No,
says
here it
polling
is,
places
right
are
in front of you,
exempt
14
from the,
pages of it, and
There it is for you.
it is not exempt. You cannot
Read
make
it.
somebody read that 14-page document. Did you get that
You
from the
just
state?
read that.
I'm not going to read anything
have
that's not
time to
made
do
by
it.
the governor. This isn't from the governor. You want to say that his orders and his guidelines are law. He exempted specifically polling places from his order, so.
Well, you look at that and see, and you complain to us, why do we go to the state when this is happening?
Can you do that?
And the reason is, that is the guidance from the state of Massachusetts for polling booths.
And you went to the state again on the polling thing and they didn't come out, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that is what got sent out to us.
Time out.
Yeah,
You and I worked together on the June election.
yes, and what was the
And I ran
difference?
it the exact
No,
same
no,
way.
there was one
You
major-
didn't work there.
No, there was one major difference, and why we were getting, the phones were
Mr.
off the
Pucci.
hook.
The phones were
One
not
second,
off the
please,
hook.
one second.
Sorry.
If you're gonna tape anything that happens in a meeting, it has
Yeah,
to be
I've got
announced
to be on
before
camera.
you do it.
Shut that off.
I will tape all proceeding.
The
Oh, my God.
chair has to announce, and people have to know that you are taping them, or it violates the wiretapping law.
This moment onwards,
No.
I will
No.
be taping.
No.
Now that I've
On here.
given
Well,
it-
no, hey, whoa. He can record, people just have to know that he's doing it. So he's
And I-
within his rights to
making
do it,
announcements.
but he can't just surreptitiously do it. So
Right.
now that
It's
people
going
know that
on.
you're doing
And
it.
it
Going
does-
back,
I will be
going back to
recording.
it.
Yeah.
I ran September the exact same way that
No.
you and I ran June.
No, there was one major difference there. And that was the amount of signage that was up and the fact that you were not wearing a mask. and you were watching all of the things.
I had my mask when I got within 6 feet of someone.
You were cleaning.
All right, we're
all
not
of the
going to
stuff.
discuss this here.
No, I agree.
That
with you.
is,
But we have a very important election coming up in November, and I would really like to sit down with whomever to make sure that that's safe. I would also like to sit down with you, and we can get, occupational
when was
safety.
our election?
September 1st and
September-
June 1st.
September 1st?
September 1st was the,
And today's September
Primary.
15th?
yep.
Do we have an outbreak of COVID now? Do we have a
if
ton
we,
more?
If we don't have outbreaks of COVID somewhere, it means we don't have to follow any of the guidance. See, I don't know if the,
Well, we don't have to follow the guidance because it's exempted from the law.
yeah.
And that's the
I'm
last
sorry,
point of
Can
that.
I just interrupt for 1 second? Just please give me 2 minutes.
Well, I'll give you 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, fair enough. You are both wrong, and this is dividing our town. It is unacceptable. The town voting thing was fine, except for you who violated the rules. One person, not the whole town, and it's causing a problem.
All right, thank you for your opinion.
You are causing a problem.
You
too,
are-
by
you are
continuing to
done.
argue the Board of Selectmen, and you need to
Is there a police
represent
officer
them
out there?
much better.
I will have you removed. You're
Go
done.
ahead. The meeting's
Good,
over.
I got your opinion. Thank you. You had something you wanted to say. You had your hand up forever. What did you want to say?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question. I'll leave the camera rolling. I wanted to ask a question to Ms. Reed, who, yes, okay, great.
It's Miss Hayes.
Excuse me. I wanted to ask a question to Mrs. Reed on
Hayes.
account.
Mrs. Hayes.
Mrs. Hayes, excuse me. Mrs. Hayes. I wanted to ask a question to Mrs. Hayes about the Facebook event that mentioned about the car show. I'm very sad to hear that that did not happen. I love antique cars. You said that there was an event page that was created for the event?
There was a Facebook event page, yes.
Okay. And I remember you said it received 400 responses. Do you know if the event page, do you know if the page was a separate page just for the road show for people to follow, or if it was for the specific dated event?
It was for the event.
Okay, that's good to know.
And it received likes. It didn't receive responses, so I'm not sure
Every
what your
event
point is.
page on Facebook cannot receive likes. Event pages receive responses of whether or not they're going or interested.
Okay, so do you have a point? Is that you want to
Yes.
make a point?
Yes, if there were more than 400 people who responded to this, then there were 400 people that gave a declaration of intent to attend.
I
And if that's
disagree
the
with
case-
that. That is not true at all.
When you can respond to something by going or interested, that is a declaration of intent, and if 400 people are making that.
Okay, so here's the other point then. How long was that event going to be, Tara? 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
So 4 hours, you get 400 people.
Mhm.
If you can't possibly believe 100% of the people are going to attend, and you can control the access points, right, to allow only so many people in, which is what every box store does.
Every
So,
event that I like to organize goes by rule. So you expect 1/2 of the total population to attend. So even in that case, you're doubling the.
Well, that's
the
fine.
voting. And in that case, if there's an overload potential like that, then it makes sense to defend this.
all right, thanks for your opinion. Go ahead.
Well, since none of this is on the agenda and it's gone well past the 2-minute comment period, can we move on to another subject?
To the what?
Another subject.
Oh, yeah,
It's your
absolutely.
turn
Yeah,
for a comment.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, as a member of the master plan committee, I'd just like to let everybody know, they should know by now that the master plan survey is out there. It's on Facebook and other sites, the town website. And also it's been mailed out to all the residents of town. So far, we've had good responses. Of Monday evening, 141 people have responded, and we'd like to encourage everybody to respond, even if it's quickly, just spell out the yes or no questions, and you can mail it in or do it online, drop it off at the town office. There's a drop box there for it. The more responses, the better feel you can get for what the residents of the town want. And 141's been a really good response initially, and please keep it up, and thank you for
Can I
that.
ask you a question on that?
Sure.
I just was curious, because I went online and filled it out. So if you want to get an accurate number to what the people in the town are interested in from that survey, do you, you can go on there and do it 5 times. Do you know who does it? Like, is there a way to make sure so that it
Well,
is,
it's going to,
someone's not trying to push something through?
Yeah, it's going to,
Because I got the thing in the mail and I'm like, oh god,
Yeah,
I
well,
already
it's going
did it
through-
online and,
yeah, through SurveyMonkey, and
okay.
the person in charge of that feels that they can kind of weed that out.
I was
through
just
the
curious, because
technology.
when I went to open it again, I was like, oh look, I can answer it again. And I was just like, so
Yeah.
how do we know that what the answers are truly what?
It's your
The people-
opinions and your suggestions.
Yeah, like that those opinions
So-
are not like one person doing it 50 times.
No, it's gonna
Yeah, but
come
it's
out
not
the
gonna-
same.
you
That's
can-
not what
you
it's,
can-
that's not what we're looking for in the survey.
Well,
We're looking for
through the
suggestions.
SurveyMonkey, you can determine that they're all coming through the same address.
Okay, that's all, I was just curious.
Yeah, because it takes the, what is it called, the DNS or something like that, the web address, so it can match you up and it can,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
that's
sure
all,
they-
because I was like, if some, just to keep it accurate.
right.
Yeah.
That everybody's
Yeah,
just
and-
saying one, that like one survey.
Oh,
Because we
yeah.
know some people may want to do 50 of them to get their point across.
Along that vein, the more, the better too, for accuracy, So.
Yeah.
I loved that it was on, that I
Yeah.
could do it online.
Tina, go ahead.
Sure, my turn.
Go ahead. What do you got?
There's a place on there that you can put your name. I don't do things anonymously, I always put my
Yeah.
name. But some people, yeah, you can put your name in there. I know, I'm pretty sure my daughter did. We did get all the ones in the mail, except for my grandson, I don't know why. But we got one for my granddaughter Hannah, who lives in Colorado. Might want to fix that one. But I did mine online.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go by a list that's available, so there might be a couple people on lists, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to get the word out that's also online, on the
I
town
love that it
website.
was online,
Yeah.
love that.
So,
Yeah.
some people may not.
And I liked all that, everything.
But it's
everything
just
that was on it
informing,
was
it's
amazing.
informing the master plan.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
love
we're
it.
not spending any money based on this. We're not, this is just kind of giving us the
Create a
roadmap of,
document that's gonna be useful for applying for grants and,
yeah.
kind of guiding town officials the direction townspeople want the town to go,
Yeah. What's important to
And
people.
it's super simple.
Take
I
that.
like easy stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's good.
computer
Yeah, so,
savvy, so I like easy stuff.
working on it for, nearly a year now, so hopefully people will participate and,
My,
do their little.
when my grandson was 19, did he fill out the one that was sent to him? That part doesn't make a difference.
Where does he live?
Yeah.
It was mailed to him.
He lives here.
Yeah,
He lives here. She's horrible. She's
Like I
a
said,
Yeah, I think so. Anybody get anything else, any other subjects? Anything else you want to bring up? All right. What?
Did you have
Just quickly, the museum's still kind of open by appointment if anybody's interested. We've had some interesting donations over the past few months that people have sent and brought in still, and if you're interested, come on down. Also, just throwing this out there, we could use another set of flat files. I've been going through things and trying to organize it the best I can as far as papers, prints, photos, maps, and things like that. We had another flat file, would probably be golden as far as that goes. Just throwing it out to everybody, if anybody runs across anybody who's
What's a flat
getting rid of.
Is there
I was just
anything in
gonna ask the
the
same
townhouse?
Yeah, was there something in the townhouse? No?
No.
The architectural type file,
Yeah,
flat
big,
file,
yeah.
or
It's,
artist files,
it's
whatever.
wider, longer draws to put big maps in.
Flat.
Oh, okay.
So, just throwing it out there in case anybody runs into anybody, closing down
I'll throw it up
business or
on
something.
the news thing.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Well, if we got nothing more, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
No, I'm sure I did.
Good night, everybody.
I gotta get outside and smoke.
That was signed on the 7th.